Hello everyone. It's day 4 of the new Stalker patch, and the amount of smaller dinos that we see now compared to just pure Apex packs in most of the zones has drastically increased, like especially packs of packies. They are everywhere. They are in my walls, they're in my closet, they are staring outside my window while I sleep. They are everywhere, and they will not leave me alone. Either way, we're coming up to the end of this little series of mine, if you want to call it that, where we'll be covering a few more dinos, especially to any who know or have watched any of my videos. You know that this dino is very near and dear to my heart. Let's just get into it. Let's start off with the Concavinator, why don't we? This thing is very annoying to big groups who just like to stack apexes. I love it. It's that one thing that will not let anybody get any stamina. Also, with being able to just run to water whenever it wants to get away, and also regenerate its stamina in the water, which just makes it an easy getaway from any group unless they've got their own semi-aquatics and people to chase. Where its claws don't really do that much damage, they do very, very good bleed for its weight class. And since it's going to be even better and more consistent across all the dinos, it is really going to push Conk pretty high in terms of how many people are going to use it, even though it is already quite the popular dino. As for how to build this thing, I would personally say use whatever you want in terms of the subspecies. The only thing I would truly recommend, but this mainly just fits my playstyle, is to just pretty much build a fully aquatic build for it. You don't lose any stats, any durability for going full aquatic, and you can get out of areas easier. It's a win-win. I wouldn't worry about a tail attack, because of how Conker plays. You're either only ever attacking or running away. That's just how it is. There's no need to worry about hitting whatever's behind you or trying to do chip damage. Your chip damage is your bleed, and that's what you should focus on. At least if you're in a group fight. Your bite damage is quite high for your weight class, and you can deal quite a lot of damage in a short space of time, and then also leave them hurting afterwards. Just remember though that Concavinator is pretty much made out of paper mache. This thing cannot take very much damage whatsoever. It is purely based on speed and bleed. Hey, that rhymes. So in terms of playstyle, name of the game is keep any high value targets bleeding at all times. So that's your Rexes, that's your Annos, that's your Ceratos, anything with a good presence in a fight. Also then it can really excel at cleaning up those who are trying to run away as well. And always remember that if you are outnumbered heavily, just like you see in this video, just run away. Your speed is very good for attacking, but it is also very good for running away and surviving. So when it gets too hot, always know when to dip. And here we have Metri. This is pretty much one of the most common carnivores that I see now. And that is because it has the best mobility out of the 3 dinos that are in the same weight class, being the Concavinator and the Cerato. Metri has received a very nice new attack, which is pretty much the Heavy Bite, which does more damage and more venom. And when I say like more damage, it is a significant amount of more damage that it does. The only problem with it, or if you want to even say it's a problem, is that it does have a delay on it. So it will be technically harder to hit. But if you do want to cover up this window, you can always just use your claw attack on the Metri. The heavy bite on Metri is able to be dragged. And if you want to know what I mean by that, I mean that the bite window, the amount of time that damage is active, is rather long for the Metri on this heavy bite. Meaning you could miss the bite at first and then move your head over who you're trying to hit. Kind of like a lingering damage box. And then you will deal quite a lot more damage and venom to whatever you do hit. When it comes to choosing a subspecies for this, it doesn't really matter. They are all good at different things. Speed Metries can deal with the faster dinos, of course, and the squishier dinos a lot easier, but is still useful for taking out any bigger dinos while in a group. Defense Metries right now are actually, weirdly enough, able to kill Rexes. There's a strange little thing that happens with defense Metries when they attack Rexes. I have seen defense Metries glued to the back of a Rex, just clawing until the Rex has died, while also then tanking every single tail hit. This is because the Rex's tail swing is also hitting then the Metri's tail, which any damage to a tail is up to 75% less damage than if you hit either the body or the head. And with how fast Metri can really spam its claw attack, I have seen Rexes die because they did not turn around or back up to a corner. And then, of course, we have Balanced Metri, which is the best of both worlds, as you can guess. As for how to build the Metri, I would personally just stick to the Putrid scales. So people hit you, they take venom and a little bit of damage. Can't go wrong, really, can you? I wouldn't bother with the lightweight hide because you're gonna need all the armor you can get as a smaller dino. And as for if you either want to use the heavy bite on Metri or the normal Viper Strikes, which is less damage but less venom as well, but also a lot faster, that will just depend on your playstyle. But me personally, I really love the Venom Bite that is a little bit delayed. The amount of damage and the amount of venom is just a lot more per hit. And that really suits playing a hit and run dino. And to finish up with Metri, the new ability in its sense slot for extra stamina regen at night is really what sends it over the top when it comes to nighttime. This thing can pretty much either run away from anything or chase down pretty much anything at night. It is actually such an annoying dino to deal with, but so fun to play. I love it. And now for pretty much my favorite of the larger dinos, the Stego. The Stego has received quite a lot of love. Maybe not in all of the abilities that, all the other dinos got, but just in the case of giving it some better stam regen. Look at that stam regen. It is so amazing now. Although for this wonderful stam regen that it's been given, it has lost effectively around half of its effective health. And when I say that, I mean it can take around half the amount of damage that it could before. As the old armor hide that it had before pretty much gave it 50% damage negation across the board. Now with the new armor hide for Stego, you are negating 25% damage, which is a significant decrease compared to what you had before in terms of armor. But now with the new stam regen that Stego has been given, that is not really a very big problem, as it can comfortably get away from the usual dinos that would usually be able to face tank it. The Stego is still pretty much the powerhouse of its weight class, in my opinion. It can pretty comfortably give a Suko a run for its money, especially in a forest. As for what I was using in this fight, I was using my same old speed Stego with the armor hide and pivot. I would use traction in some scenarios, but with it reducing your stamina regen, it would force me to get rid of my armor scales or my armor plates and replace them with solar powered, which sadly only works in the day, hence the name solar powered. Then replacing the armor hide that Stego had in the first place, meaning that Stego would have to give up the last piece of tankiness that it has just to be able to turn a little bit better. I have tried using traction with the armor plates, and the stamina regen was basically the same as the old Stego before this update. And we all remember how that was. It was an absolute nightmare. So all in all, I would recommend just stick to pivot and armor plates. This turning on Stego is still really good even without traction. And you want every piece of armor that you can get right now. And as for how I use Stego, I do the same as I always have. I stick to forests and use the trees and my terrain to my advantage. The dinos that chase me are getting stuck on the trees and terrain and the branches and all that annoying stuff, whereas the Stego is still slender enough to fit in between the trees and have people get stuck on stuff that you don't. Now that we've reached the end on me explaining how I play Stego, let's just enjoy this fight. Seems that the Suko did not want to try it with the Stego on his own without an Anno to back it up. I don't blame him. To all of you who are watching, I hope you found this useful, but most of all, I hope you enjoyed. I don't do voice clips very often, but they can be nice once in a while. Bye.